with a Business is brought to you by Audible.com.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of Married with a Business. I'm Craig.
And I'm Allison.
And we're Married with a Business. We're here to share tips, tricks, stories, a little bit about us and what we do as a married couple that own and operate a business together. How you doing this week, Allison? What's going on with you?
I'm good. So last weekend, I helped chaperone the Gold Rush. The boys had a scout camp out, and it was called Gold Rush, and it was this Oregon Trail style camp out. And they broke the kids up into the different ranks of scouts, and they had all these different challenges they had to do throughout the 2 days to get through and survive in their patrols. So they got a certain amount of money at the beginning, and they had to make shelter, and they had to buy food, and they had to buy supplies, and it was really fun. It was a really great experience. We were there to observe and keep people safe, but not necessarily to help, and depending on the different levels of their ranks. So it was fun to see them make decisions on how much of their money they were going to spend on dinner. One group, instead of getting everybody a roll, they decided to get half as many rolls and cut them in half so that they wouldn't spend as much money. So it was really fun. And then our oldest son is in a higher level of scouting and a higher rank than our younger son. And his group had a little bit of challenge doing the challenges together. Two of the kids felt like they were really pulling the group along and doing everything. So they got to one challenge where they decided that they were going to show the other two kids what they needed to do, give them the tools and the manual on how to do it, and then they were going to step back and go do something else and let them really try to figure it out on their own. And they tried to so they did some delegation and some leadership and management instead of letting the kids just abdicate to the two of them. They decided that they were going to manage them, but let them fail or succeed on their own while they went off and worked on some other tasks, which I thought was really cool, even though they felt like they were abandoning them. They weren't. They were really doing the leadership things they needed to do.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. And I also thought it was really cool that they were told that they were going to have to hunt for their dinner. That was the best part. And so they were all like, are we going to have to actually go and hunt deer and do that? And we were like, yeah, that's exactly what you're going to have to do. And then they ended up having to do bow and arrow.
Yeah,
archery.
So we had printouts of these most adorable little bunny rabbits that we put on. It was so sad.
Hilarious.
That we put on the targets, and they had to go to the archery range, and they had to shoot until they hit one of the bunny rabbits, and then they had to take their bunny rabbit picture to the trading post to trade it in to get the food.
Yeah, hilarious. But no, it's a great, and we've always said this, Scouts is great. It really helps our kids and helps kids like learn responsibility and leadership.
And communication.
Yeah.
It was a really great experience. And they got frustrated, but they seemed to have a ton of fun.
Yeah.
And nobody died of dysentery, so that was good.
It's like the old Oregon Trail video game, yes. Allison, this week we are talking about dashboards. So we're talking about cars that have dashboards.
No, we're talking about dashboards for your business. And I have to tell you, I am creepily excited about our dashboards.
So where did this all stem from, the fact that where did you hear about dashboards first?
Well, we've talked a lot about dashboards in our Entree Leadership Advisory group. And for the longest time, I was like, I don't understand what they're talking about. I don't understand how they create them. And then somebody kind of just explained it to me that you can make a very simple dashboard. It can just be from your Excel sheet. And our CMR program has a dashboard. It's got a summary page on the front, but it takes all the data we're putting into it and makes a dashboard. But we were really talking about it through the EOS system and Gino Wickman's book Traction, and somebody just kind of helped me understand that all of the things I'm putting into my Excel sheet, I can make one tab that is summarizing all of that data. And it was like, I've been doing this for a long time, and it was kind of like that, oh my goodness moment, and then I just got too excited about it.
Yeah, I mean, and so the idea of having a dashboard for your business is it's a way to quickly display key information about whatever it might be that you're trying to keep a track of in your company performance wise. It gives you it's like the cockpit of an airplane for your business.
Yeah, it's visual, it's easy to read, it's a quick snapshot without having to dig through all of the data. You can still do that, but you don't have to.
Yeah, I like people sometimes refer to it like as the command center for your business. That's exactly what it is. It lets you look at it, really quickly, and be able to make decisions. And this kind of also stemmed from the reason that we really needed it is, you and I would sit down and have an owners meeting. We'd be looking through numbers, and we had an immense amount of data.
Yeah, I create this huge packet every month, and it's got lots of detail and lots of great information on it. But you wouldn't read it. You wouldn't read through it all. You wanted me to just tell you the highlights of it.
Right. And so, and I'd ask questions, and you'd have to sit there with a calculator and figure out, it's X percentage this or whatever it might be. And so finally, you just took that Excel sheet that we were using and you created a new tab in it. And that first page of now what you hand out for the packets is a dashboard that breaks down all of those information.
Right. And then if we want to dig in more on something specific that month, we can. But for you, and it's been nice to give it to our other teammates, just a quick at a glance, and then they can ask me more questions if they need to. But I also think nobody was looking at them. I was spending all of this time every month putting together these wonderful packets, but nobody but me was paying any attention to them.
So what kind of, what are you trying to analyze in a dashboard?
Well, I'm trying to spot trends, things that are happening. Are we on pace? Are we ahead, behind? What's happening? On one of our financial ones, I have % of our goal and how close are we to our goal. So I can look at it real quick and say, okay, it's March and we're 62% of our way to our goal. So we're ahead. We're doing really well.
Yeah, I think that, for me, it helped us, make some better decisions when it comes on an estimating side of what we do, because we were just guesstimating at what we were, per job, what our project managers were costing us. And we was just blindly saying, it's, 1% or 10% or whatever. And so finally, and we started, first we started tracking all that data much more clearly. And then we were able to put it in, and then we were able to, put it in. So we saw a percentage, and then we were like, different jobs sizes have different percentages. So let's make this dashboard that says jobs that are under a certain amount are what percent, jobs that are X to Y are a different percent. And it helped us. So now when we're estimating more accurately for our project managers.
Right. I have our overall general percentage that they cost us, and then I have it broken out by, every big chunk of our project ranges. And it's really helping us we had all the data. It was easy to put together, but it helps us make it quick to use. So it kind of takes that feeling out of decision making and helps us use data to make decisions.
The other thing that we started doing with our dashboards is we share them with everybody now in key managers and other people in the company.
Yeah, so they get the one-page summary. Everybody gets it, so that it's kind of that more of that open book model. They don't have to look through everything, but they can see, for revenue, what our goal is and how far away from our goal are we. For overhead, what our goal is and are we ahead or behind. The same with the sales and the invoicing. So as many of you know, we do residential remodeling. Sales and invoicing are two different numbers.
Right. And I think that, when we finally started putting this together and getting it online, we used to send out these packets to key managers, and I think that they're not like us as owners, right? Sometimes as owners, we like to sit down there and dive into 6 pages of notes, and numbers and all this stuff. But for them, it's easier for them to look at it and go, this is why Craig and Allison are always talking about we need to focus on cleaning up production management, or we need to, our cost of goods sold is running really high, and we need all of that's now broken down on the dashboard.
Yeah, it eliminates the need for us to manually compile it. And QuickBooks for the finance part does a lot of it, but it doesn't really print it out in the way that we find most visually appealing. So what we do is we take it out and we do dump it into an Excel tabs, and that makes one great quick report for us.
And it also kind of helps us to, we talk about key performance indicators, KPIs, And it helps us focus not only from a business, overall business goals, but also on each individual team member goals too.
Right. And so for the sales and marketing dashboard and then the finance dashboard, I could put tons of different things on it, but I really want to focus on these quick dashboards. What are our key things we need to look at? Because I want it to keep it to one page, the summary to one page, so that they're useful and being looked at. And we have lots of different dashboards for lots of different things because I'm like obsessed with them now.
and visually, like you also kind of have like a certain way that you've put it together with different colors and different sections to help people, again, better break that out in their head when it comes to looking at charts and graphs and the elements, the parts that build the actual dashboard that you show people.
Right. You want to keep it simple. You want the data to be able to be easily digested at a glance. So what I've done is each different category box has a different color to it. So you can scan through and know whether you're looking at the sales, the invoicing, the overhead, the project management sections. So it doesn't all get lost on the page.
And that also kind of helps to, as people look at it, it helps them feel like they're more a part of using the dashboard. I mean, we definitely saw it with our production manager, who, when we started doing these dashboards, he hooks onto them now. Like he's really into like looking at his parts of the dashboard, saying, "Hey, this number's worse this month than it was last month."
Yeah, I think that they have, because they are looking at them and they're not spending a lot of time looking at them, there's more buy-in to when we have bigger discussions about what we need to do, or if we're at the end of the year and we do have the ability to make some capital improvements, they know coming into it kind of where we stand.
Yeah, I think that's great.
And I think that it's important to understand that your dashboard is only as good as the data you put into it. And ideally, you want to be updating dashboards and refreshing the information in real time so that you're always looking at the most current information. So it's important to come up with a system for who's going to update the dashboard and when they're going to update the dashboard. We do it that now, I used to be me, but now depending on the dashboard, so our finance one, for instance, when we close out the end of the month numbers, our bookkeeper prints out the reports that I'm looking for, updates the dashboard, and then I go in and print out the packets and review it. And we have an agreement that all that information is done by the 10th of the month, because I don't want to get too far into the month if we need to make an adjustment to something.
Yeah. And I think that when you talk about the data and when you get it in the timely manner, I think it just depends on what the information is and when you need it. I like to look at sales things monthly and quarterly. I don't need to look at sales numbers on a weekly basis.
But sometimes what I do is if I'm looking for information, I'll go take some data and throw it into the dashboard just so I can see where we're tracking. But we are always looking at it every month.
Yeah, absolutely. At minimal every month. And, for us, like in the dashboard that we created, we do that all. It's in-house. It's in an Excel sheet that we put everything in. There are products out there that you can purchase and buy, and I'm sure there's a lot of industry specific things that you can use. But for us, we found that I guess you and I are different. We've been doing this so long, for 20 plus years. There's just certain information that we want, and it was easier for us to kind of compile it and build it ourselves.
And I feel like no matter what I give you guys, you always want something else.
Well, that's true. And that's the other thing to talk about. Since we started doing the dashboards, it went from like 3 items to now, how many are on there? Like 8, 9 different things?
7 on the finance dashboard. But what's good about it is I can quickly get you the information. I think if you're running a business and you're listening to it, the most important thing is you've got to be looking at your numbers. You have to be looking at them regularly, consistently. That's where small businesses fail. They don't know their numbers. And at the end of the day, that's what keeps you in business. You got to get paid for the work you did today.
And I think that it's the hardest thing in small businesses is you cannot, not be looking at what's happening in your business from a financial. You may have the most trusted bookkeeper in the world, but you still need to be looking at those numbers, understanding everything that's there, from revenue to sales volume to invoicing to order tracking, whatever it might be.
There's a difference between abdicating and delegating. And I've seen too many small business owners who just hate the numbers abdicate, and then they don't really know where they are, and then they get into trouble.
And that's exactly why, you have our bookkeeper updates the parts of the dashboard, and then you look at it immediately, and you'll know, like month to month, you'll be able to look at it and be like, oh, something's definitely wrong.
Right.
And like we have other checks and balances in our business that we're always looking at certain things as business owners, which we'll talk out down the road. But like, for this is one of our ways of being able to make sure that our hand is always on the pulse of what's happening in our business financially.
Right. And again, you can customize it. It doesn't have to be, I thought it had to be this like big, fancy, dramatic thing. And when I realized, you can just make an Excel sheet that will pull all the specific information from other tabs into one place, it really resonated that it doesn't have to be complex. But you can customize it to look at anything that you want. So our two main, aside from the programs that do it for us, our two main ones that we use, again, are our finance one and then our sales and marketing one. So Craig, for your sales and marketing dashboard, what kind of things do we have on it, and why do you have those things on it?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, the things that we want to look at are like raw leads and number of sales calls or sales that a person has gone on. It helps us track to see, okay, where raw leads is, and if you don't know, raw lead is like any phone call that we get, anybody who's asking for us to talk to them about our business.
Yeah, so we kind of have them broken up into prospects, people who we've got their information, but they haven't actively asked for us to price something for them. Leads or raw leads are people who've called, whether we've made contact with them again or not, or we've gone out and given them a proposal. And then customers, clearly somebody who's bought from us.
Yeah, so we want to see those raw lead numbers because that's a big indicator for us. If the raw leads are starting to go down, then we need to do something quickly to try to get more people calling us, because we know our percentages of how, selling. If we need X amount of raw leads to X amount of sales calls, leads to X amount of sales.
And knowing this information and tracking it month to month will help you reduce that up and down cycle that people get into.
Other things that we look at in the sales and marketing dashboard too are obviously things like sales volume, like how much we're selling, and that's usually like a percentage of what's left to sale or a percentage of our goal for the year. And we have a monthly breakdown. So like we have the way we kind of look at our sales is we have monthly goals, quarterly goals, and then yearly goals. And sometimes, you have a bad month, so you need, you need to make that back up in the quarter in the next month. And so those dashboards kind of help us continually look at those and update those as we need to. And then the other thing that's kind of new for us that we just put on the dashboard is social media followers and positive reviews online. So we're looking at how many people are following us. Is our social media going up or down? And we're looking at reviews online. Are people reviewing us? How many people have reviewed us? The rating of those reviews.
Yeah, so what's good about looking at that every month, again, it helps take that up and down out of it, because it takes a little while when you adjust your marketing for it to, it's very rarely instantaneous. There's very rarely a silver bullet, but it helps to start to look for trends.
So the overall goal for a dashboard is for you to be able to quickly, look at something. Allison, if somebody was like, okay, I need to start a dashboard, where should I start? What would you tell them? Like, what's probably a good jumping off place for doing or starting a dashboard?
I think determine what your key performance indicators are. What are the main things you need to look at? And just pick 2 or 3 to start with. And how are you going to compile that information? So if it's, I need to know what my sales goal is and how much I've sold, start with that. Again, Excel is a really great program for just throwing that stuff in there, because it can also give you lots of other things. If you get good at it, you can make pie charts and bar charts as you get better, but you can literally just put it in and it'll do the math for you.
Right, exactly. So start a dashboard if you don't have a dashboard.
They're so much fun and they're addictive, and I love to look at them.
If you are a high C personality like Allison is on the disc, and you like all of these, lots of information, you definitely need to start a dashboard.
Because you can make them for everything.
They are addicting.
They are.
No.
We use, I guess it's not a dashboard, but for our sales meetings, we have, we call it the sales tracking sheet. And it's a dashboard. It's set up so and all the leads that you guys are working on, the dates, it changes color by how far out. It's just, you can you can customize it to whatever makes you work most efficiently.
Yeah, and that's the idea. That's the idea behind having a good dashboard in front of you. Allison, what are you listening to this week?
So I just started listening to Trust, knowing when to give it, when to withhold it, how to earn it, how to fix it when it gets broken, by Dr. Henry Cloud. This book talks about the 5 key ingredients for trusting relationships and helps you navigate both giving and earning trust. And it offers guidance on repairing broken trust so you can move forward with most important connections. And I wasn't sure when I started it, like how it was going to go, but it really is kind of written from, it talks about personal relationships and business relationships. So I feel like it's a really good book for this because it talks
and I think
about
a lot of
how
ways,
you interact with your spouse, how you interact with your team,
sales,
and
it's a great
gives
book because it teaches you how to earn it, how to talk to people,
trust.
how to make them trust you. And it's and we recently saw Dr. Henry Cloud speak at a conference, and he was great. I mean, it's a really interesting topic that I think sometimes we take for granted that, we're trustworthy people, or sometimes we trust people, and it really kind of helps navigate a lot of that.
And in your relationship with your spouse, trust is important, and it's important in your relationship with your clients and your team, and how you bring trauma from childhood into all of those relationships affects the way you interact with people.
Yeah, so definitely check it out, Trust by Dr. Henry Cloud. You can get that for free at Audible if you want to sign up through our Audible trial. So visit audibletrial.com/bizmarried for a free 30 days of Audible on us. You can listen to that book or a million other books. I mean, there's got to be at least a million on there, right?
Oh, easy. There's so many books and podcasts, and it's great.
So definitely check it out, audibletrial.com/bizmarried. Thanks for listening this week, everybody. Don't forget, find us on social media. You can find us on Instagram at bizmarried, or you can find us on Facebook. Just search Married with a Business. You can also check out our website, marriedwithabusiness.net. It's a great place to learn a lot about us.
Yeah, and we've got some resources. You can listen to episodes. If you want to have us come and talk about something with you, you can fill out the form there.
Yeah, so thanks for listening. Remember, tell your friends to listen, like, subscribe, and find us there. And remember, not only is it important to focus on your business, but also your marriage, because we're married with a business.